Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lexi and today we're doing a psychic reading and we're going to take a look at if life on Earth, like if Earth is a prison planet. I saw somebody comment this. I know it's like a topic that a lot of people have spoken about. I've seen many other readers do this type of subject as well. I never heard anything to do with a prison planet until like maybe a year or two ago, and I've seen it circulate quite a few times since. I've never subscribed to that belief, but like, where did it come from? Why do people feel that way? Like what's that about? So there's something there that I would definitely like to take a look at, and you guys commented this and wanted me to take a look at it, so I thought, okay, I'll give it a shot. So we're gonna get straight in, and I really have no clue. Sometimes I have an idea of something, I'm like, or maybe I've channeled it before. No idea, absolutely no idea. We're gonna learn together. So spirit guides, is Earth a prison planet? Is Earth a prison planet? I've just dropped a card. It definitely feels like it's closed off. I definitely feel like we're closed off. But is that our doing or is that somebody else's doing? We're definitely closed off. I feel like there's a dome. Like what? Do you know like The Simpsons? If you ever saw the Simpsons movie and the Simpsons are like in a dome. Like Springfield gets placed in a dome from the outside world, like away from the outside world. That's what I'm being shown. I don't say anything about a prison, but I do feel that we're closed off. Is Earth a prison planet? Spirit guides, is Earth a prison planet? I just shared if it was a prison, you put yourselves in jail. That's what I just shared. If it was a prison, you all kind of collectively decided that it was one. Like you all collectively put yourselves in jail. That's what I'm being shown. And when I say collectively, it's like just human beings as a whole, and not just like the human beings on Earth now, but the human beings that are long gone, in terms of like how we're operating right now. Four of Cups. Is Earth a prison planet? Spirit guides, is Earth a prison planet? Is Earth a prison planet? Is Earth a prison planet? We have the Six of Wands. On the back of the deck, we have the Chariot. Okay. Is Earth a prison planet? Okay, like I said, we're definitely closed off to like other energies, other beings. But I feel like we're closed off. It's almost like there's like a one-way trade, if that makes sense. Like we're closed off in terms of like heading out, but there's no closed off gates in terms of coming in. Does that make sense? Because it's like there's energies and beings around you guys all the time, everywhere. It's all around you. But like we're not, why are we not seeing that though? Like what is that? Like it's like a one-way trade. Like the door in, you can get in, but you like, you know how people can get into prison? People can come and visit prison, but the prisoners stay in prison. That's kind of how it feels. So it's making me think, but it's not prison. Like I don't feel like Earth is like a prison planet. I don't feel that's what it is. It's more so coming through like a kindergarten, like, you know, in the UK we say like a primary school or a nursery school for kids. That's kind of more so how it feels. Like we have recess, we go outside, like it's like that whole thing. We have the break time and then we go into the classrooms sort of thing. Like it's more like that. It's not a sense of like you guys are bad, you're in a prison planet. It's more so like you're young, like you're the babies, like you're the preschoolers, you're the kids in the nursery. You know what I mean? Like you're young. Why would you have all the tools right now anyway? One, you wouldn't comprehend it, and two, you could, you know, if you gave a baby, you know, like, let's just say a big red button to destroy the Earth, that wouldn't be the best thing to do, would it? You know what I mean? So you just wouldn't give that to the baby. There's reasons that we don't put kids in places where there's like heavy control, their brain hasn't developed. So there's something there about like, it's more like we're premature than we are prisoners. I don't think we're looked at like, oh, bad, wrong. It's like, they're cooking. They're cooking right now. Like they're just not, they're closed off because it's like they need to, that flower needs to bloom up this way first. It needs to come out of the soil and bloom up. That's what needs to happen. You know, you don't put a toddler in a car and tell it to drive. The toddler will grow, and then when it's time, you know, whatever the toddler grew into, it's going to learn to drive. That's what I'm being shown. So that's where it's like energies can come in, because I see help, like I see guidance, but it's like we're not getting out, but it's like we wouldn't be able to comprehend how to yet, if that makes sense. It's like a mentality we wouldn't have yet. We haven't evolved to yet. It's a frequency we wouldn't understand yet. Because in terms of like other realms and other worlds or whatever it is, it's coming through a frequency. It's not like how human beings would look at it, like, let me get in my spaceship and go to Mars and meet that alien and, you know, whatever. It's like, it's more of a frequency. You know what I mean? It's a frequency shift where we'll start to see other beings, you know what I mean? And other like entities, and some of us can see that when, you know, we see mediums and things like that, and even there's like scientific breakthroughs where we're able to see certain things too, but we're not there. Nothing's like being really locked in. We're still cooking, we're babies, if that makes sense. And there is a level of kind of, when I say protection, like I feel like I'm watching over. So I kind of feel like I'm sitting and I'm watching over. So I do feel like there are beings that watch over Earth and kind of guide. I guess that could be our spirit guides there, but I also feel on like a larger scale, I feel like there's larger entities almost like viewing the progress or like kind of like what's going on. So I kind of feel like there's a level of protection there, if that makes sense. Think of like a headmaster. That's kind of how it feels. Like I feel like there are entities that like in some ways protect or watch over in that degree, but I don't feel it's prison. I feel like we're looked at as the little babies. Like that's kind of like how we're seen, to be honest with you. Four of Pentacles, the High Priestess, Hierophant, the Four of Cups and the Six of Wands. Like we're buds right now. We haven't bloomed, and the way we're gonna do that, you know, you see people and they go through like spiritual awakening, and they'll open up to new energies there, or you'll see people and they start to, you know, like how human beings as they grow, they sometimes will become more empathetic and be more open in their heart space and understanding. There's like a level there where like people need to reach that, but it's like as a whole in terms of human beings there needs to be like that openness. There's like a lot of, I'm being shown a lake flowing with water, that for us to be open in that way of like really connecting with other beings like that, this river needs to be flowing smoothly. But right now there's like fences and dead things and rocks like all in this lake and river that are kind of stopping it from flowing the best way. And it's normal because we're not in the highest vibration. The 3D that we're in and the earth that we're on, it is kind of dense. You can see that, you know, from what we see, there is a density. So there's a clearing that's still taking place for us to be able to open up to that. And that's why there's always shifts happening, I'm being told. But I'm also being told we go up and down. Like sometimes we'll raise our consciousness and then we'll fall in consciousness, and then we'll raise in consciousness and then we fall in consciousness. Like that does happen. I don't know why I keep being shown history books as well, like something to do with the timing being off, or like something being shorter than what it was, if that makes sense. The only way I can describe it, I know you guys don't, like a lot of you guys don't watch Doctor Who, but basically in Doctor Who they went to this like alien station, right? And there were these beings that were being just created to be like part of like an army, so they were just being duplicated. So they come out of a machine, like a clone basically, and they were taught how to fight, and that was it. And when the Doctor asks them, like, how long have you been in this war with, it was a species called the Hath, it was like an alien species, how long have you been in this war? And they were like, oh, years and years. No, they said generations and generations. So that sounded like, oh, they've been in this war for hundreds of years. That's what everybody thought. But when the Doctor actually like cracked it, they hadn't been in a war for generations and generations, because they were clones. They were making new generations every day. They'd only been at war for a week. You know, they'd been underground and at war for 1 week. That was all it was. But they were told, or it was made out to them, that it had been longer than what it was. So there's something there, because that's what I'm being shown. There's something to do with like history books or timing, where like we think like, for example, like we have like the last like 2,000 years or whatever, but there's so much more behind that, but we just don't know about it because it's like erased. It's kind of like gone. But then I also feel like, what am I mean? I'm being shown like events that have just been taken out. Like that didn't happen. So like a generation or two died off and then it was like forgotten about. It's like, let's hide that away. That didn't happen, but it did happen. But it was like hidden away. So let's just say 500 years ago, 400 years ago, there was like a civilization that was actually connecting to like really high frequency things. But then something happened, but then they like removed it from the history book. So then we think it never happened, or it's like an ancient, you know, Lemuria. I'm thinking of that sort of thing. Or even ones we don't even talk about, that we don't even know about. And then it's like, oh, that was like a myth. That was an old myth. That happened, but it was like literally 400 years ago. Like our great grandfather knew about that or was part of that, but it's gone. But it's not actually gone, it's just been hidden. Like I feel like time's been messed with in terms of what we're told, because we're only hearing word of mouth, we're only hearing what we've been told to a degree. And there's something about timing being different, or things being meddled around, or things being taken out. Didn't think that would come through, but that's what's coming through. Because I'm thinking like history books, it's like they've just erased things and removed that, and that didn't happen like 2,000 years ago. That only happened about 500 years ago. Like that's what I'm being shown. Okay, definitely not a person, but it's not anyone doing it, it's human beings doing it to a degree. It's not anyone necessarily doing that, human beings are doing that. Why are human beings doing that? Why would human beings... I see people benefiting from certain frequencies or understanding certain frequencies and then kind of being greedy and keeping it to themselves. You know how like when you connect with like Atlantis and like they connected to science and crystals and all of that, and they were using it to a really high degree, but then they started like getting greedy with it and that type of power, and then using it, and then it aided like a destruction because they were hurting other people. It's that sort of thing. I feel like sometimes like human beings will get greedy with something that they know, and then it creates a fall of something, and that's where a loop comes in, where it's like a karmic loop. Because, and I've seen this in personal readings when I've done Akashic readings, it goes up and down like this in terms of, I always get Earth and Pleiades in terms of my Akashic readings, and I've always got shown like Earth and Pleiades going up and down in terms of frequency, like going round in cycles, because like we're not learning and we keep going back down. That's what I'm being shown. It's like when we go too right or too left, we get it wrong, because then it will hurt the other side of it. You know what I mean? Like for us, for spirituality to exist, we have to have the logic, and for our, you know, there has to be like a level of balance there. You know what I mean? We can't just like only look at science. We have to consider spirituality. We can't just look at spirituality. We have to look at science and logic. So it's like we go too far one way that we forget something. You know, like sometimes you can connect with spirituality to a point that you literally feel like I am all, and you know, it's all happening for me and to me. But then you see people and they literally disconnect from empathy and their humanness because they're so connected to spirit, and it's like, I don't need to deal with that. And then there's like chaos happening in the world, and we're meant to be there for our brothers and sisters, and people are like, no, let's just focus on the love and light. But it's like, we need to remember the human part of it too, you know, the compassion, you know what I mean? So that we all rise up to that energy together. That's why human beings keep messing up, I feel. And we fall back down. We get it right in one area and then we fall back down. Or something is used to kind of control us in an area, so then we don't look at the other pieces. It's quite interesting. We keep if it was a prison planet, we're doing it to ourselves. This is what I'm being told, because we're raising one piece up and then we're falling back. We're raising another piece up and we're falling back. There's a lot of that. We need to balance it all. There's like a unison, a togetherness that we keep kind of forgetting. We're all doing this, like the four coins, the four sides of you know, a square. It's like it all needs to come, because that's the only way we'd be able to even comprehend to get outside of, I guess, a realm that we're in, you know what I mean? And open up to new energies. It's not a prison planet. I feel like we're still, it's like a school. This feels kind of like a school. We're considered the babies. we're the little babies. That's what we are. Let's go a bit deeper, see if we can get anything else. Anything else, please, spirit guides? So in terms of, and it's not like, oh, Earth is a school. It's just that that's the energy it's taken on, because we're babies, we're learning, we're growing, and we're being protected while that happens. There's a level of protection there to a degree. Okay. Okay. But like the protection, it can't get involved with like karma, it feels. Like, because then it's like, no, human beings need to evolve past that. If it's being done for them, they're not going to learn. Like if someone's driving them around, they're not going to learn to drive. They need to get to that point. They need to learn it themselves. So it's like I'm watching things, because I know people will be like, oh, well, if we're being protected, why are certain things happening? You can't get involved with karma, it feels. You've got to learn that yourself, otherwise you're not going to get into a certain mindset. Take me deeper into this, please, spirit guides. I definitely feel like there's something to do with like history or time being warped, of when we are told things have happened and then they haven't, or things that we thought like were not that long ago, but like they were ancient, like times and times ago, and then things that were like we're told was like a myth, like that was a myth that never happened, but it did happen, but it's like hidden. You know what I mean? Like there's something there. Yeah, wait, what? It's that, this is from the last reading, last Sunday's reading, when I was talking about, I forgot what last week's reading was about now, but why do souls forget who they are when they incarnate? There's a layer of karma that we're working through to get ourselves somewhere. I feel like the last reading would help this reading make sense. They feel kind of one and the same. Knight of Wands, Page of Wands, Seven of Swords. And the back of the deck is the Ten of Swords. Okay. Six of Swords, Knight of Wands, Page of Swords, Seven of Swords. We are literally babies. I think we get distracted easily. I think that sometimes we get into a bit of a know-it-all energy where we think we know everything and then we start pushing in like one way. And I think when we start to balance another energy out, you know, like the Hunger Games where you had like the bad guys with like the peacekeepers and like President Snow, and then you had the people that were being oppressed, and then what happens then is the resistance that comes against the bad guys. In the books, at least, it doesn't really show up much in the movies, but in the books the resistance gets just as bad as the bad guys, to the point that they even think that they want to do another Hunger Games, but with the Capital's children. And Katniss, who's just like, no, you know, she ends up stopping that so that there's more of a balance. She makes that stride, you know what I mean? She goes against the resistance, the leader of the resistance that's getting just as toxic, and she takes that person out, as well as Snow being taken out. So it's like, no, there needs to be balance, because otherwise we would have gone too far this way and then done the exact same, and then there's just the karma being circulated. We need to make our way out of it. You know what I mean? We're going round and round and round in a cycle, and we're not coming off the cycle. And every time we start to think, let's go off this cycle and switch to another side, we start to create a cycle over there. We forget that we're trying to get out of that cycle, and we start to create that cycle over there. There needs to be, how would that show up, spirit guides? How would that show up? In terms of us getting out of the cycles that we're in, how would that show up in like everyday life? Like I said about like when people, they know that to get out of like a lack mindset or whatever, they'll connect to spirituality, or they'll start to clear, and it's working and it's good, but then they'll go so far that way where they disconnect from like their human senses, or they lack compassion, or they won't see themselves in other people because they feel like they're above that. They forget their humanness and that compassion, and they'll go to kind of like above, you know what I mean? That can happen. Same with like people with like money. They may have like this push to like, yeah, I want to make money so I can become you know, stable and financially stable, and I want to reach that kind of like level of like balance and, you know, whatever it is, because I lacked it. And then they'll do it, but then it's like not enough, so then they'll keep pushing, and then they'll like, at the expense of other people being in that lack, they'll push themselves to earn the most money in the world, and then other people are like working for like a penny a piece, and they don't care because it's like, I promised I'd get myself here. There's something there where we get it right, and then we push it too far. We don't balance it out. We push, and we've been doing it for, it's happened a lot of times, and that's where we crash and burn, because it creates an imbalance on the other side, and then we fall again, and then we start going up, and then we fall again, start going up, fall again. We keep doing it. We keep doing it. There needs to be a level of balance. Like, I know what it's like to feel like hurt. I'm not then going to hurt that person, type of thing. You know what I mean? I'm not then going to do that. Like, I know what it taught me. I'm not going to carry it on. There needs to be that level of balance, but it's like it's being passed on to other people. If that makes sense, the karma is being passed on to other people, and then we're being stuck in that net. Like I said from the last reading, we have like a net over us. Yeah. You know, like hurt people type of thing. That's what I'm being shown. I'm interested about the history thing. Let me know if you want me to like look into anything in terms of like history, because it's got me side-eye in the history books. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you'd like me to look at anything that's happened in history, or let me look at if there's anything that has been pulled away, if you want me to do a reading on that, like what's been hidden from us. Because it's making me think of like dragons being real at one point, because I remember somebody saying like in the oh, what's it called, you know, you have like the year of the dragon, the year of like the ox, or whatever it is. I can't remember what it's called, the Chinese calendar thing. I can't remember what it's called. Let me know in the comments down below. And they're all real animals except for the dragon, and I remember somebody explaining like, did they exist? Let me know if you'd want me to do a reading like that, because that would be interesting. But yeah, I don't think we're in a prison planet. I think we are, we put ourselves in cuffs, I think, sometimes. And I think that we're kind of just babies learning to grow and evolve, and practice makes perfect. And I think sometimes we fall, and I think we're more the babies of the cosmos than we are prisoners. Yeah, so that's what I have for you guys. Let me know down below in the comments if you have a different perception on this, because like I always say, we're all looking at things through different lenses, and you could have something, you could see something that I don't see. So let me know down below in the comments what your experience is, if you've channeled this. Let me know what you think of this. Let me know what, you know, your version of it is. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will hopefully see you guys in my next videos. Thank you guys for watching.